Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Bando Mohi Savadana Mate Banda Mohi Savadana Mate Jahara Prasade Bhai Ebhavatariya Jai Jara Prasade Bhai Ebhavatariya Jai Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya Arana Kariya Mane Asha Arana Kare Amane Asha Shri Guru Charana Rati Aise Uttama Gati Shri Guru Charana Rati Aise Uttama Gati Ye prasade pure sarva asha. Ye prasade pure sarva asha. Chakudan diloje janme janme Prabhu se. Chakudan diloje janme janme Prabhu se. Divya Gyan Hridaya Prakashita. Divya Gyan Hridaya Prakashita. Prema Bhakti Aha Hoite Avidya Vinasha Jate. Prema Bhakti Aha Hoite Avidya Vinasha Jate. Vedegaya Racharita. Vedegaya Racharita. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamma Janara Bandhu. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamma Janara Bandhu. Lokanath Lokarajivana. Lokanath Lokarajivana. Ha Prabhu Karadaya Deho More Pada Chaya. Ha Prabhu Karadaya Deho More Pada Chaya. Prabhu Karadaya Deho More Pada Chaya. He Begat Kushotri Bhavana. Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana. Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namo Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Saraswati Devi Panchatattva mantra 1 Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astotarasat Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astotarasat Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपा गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माया की जय। यमुना माया की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome, a very warm welcome to Sunday Love Feast program. A special welcome to anyone who may be joining us today for the first time. And we do see some new faces here. So let's give them a warm Hari Bol welcome. Hare Krishna. Welcome also to our online community. Devotees, before we go on, quick announcement. The Bhaktivedanta College of Education and Culture, the children's classes has started today. So if you would like to take your children along quickly to the classes, it is happening in the college room and the teachers are eagerly awaiting your children. Matajis, a very happy International Women's Day to you. This is on behalf of the management of Sri Sri Radharadhana Temple. We honor you and we thank you for all your nurturing and all the different roles and responsibilities that you take on, and we wish you well in the rest of your spiritual journeys. Hare Krishna. Let's have a round of applause for the Matajis on Happy International Women's Day. So the next part of our class, of our program, is our class, and for this, we thank you and we give you that gentle reminder about your cell phones to please turn them on silent or to switch them off completely. So for class today, we have His Grace Ramvijay Das, and the topic, a very interesting one, King Citraketu criticises Lord Shiva. So a little bit about Prabhu. His Grace Ramvijay Prabhu is a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, and Prabhu is also, as we know, the Vice President of our temple, of Sri Sri Radharadhana Temple. Prabhu is also deeply involved in preaching, and he conducts various seminars. He also holds a master's degree in public administration, and he works full-time in the field of information technology. So devotees, we can see what a fine example Prabhu is of how to balance your material obligations and spiritual life. So such a wonderful example for us. So let's welcome His Grace Ramvijay Das. Hare Krishna.
Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vandachari. Yamunatira Vandachari. Jaya Radha Radhanat Radha Radhanat Radhi. Jaya Radha Radhanat Radha Radhanat Radhi. Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Gora Hare Gora Hare Gora Hare Jaya Gora Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to our Sunday Love Feast program, Sri Sri Radharadhanath Temple. Thank you all for making the time to attend today. Today we're going to talk about the pastimes of Citraketu Maharaj, specifically how Citraketu Maharaj criticized Lord Shiva, and then his own subsequent cursing by Mother Parvati. We're not only talking about that pastime, we're going to see what lessons we can learn from that pastimes, things that will be relevant to us in our practice of devotional life. So, this pastime of Citraketu Maharaj is from Srimad Bhagavatam. It may be, some of us may not be familiar with it, because it's from the 6th canto of Bhagavatam, and maybe it's not one of the more common pastimes we hear. So some of us may not have heard this pastime, so we'll just go through the pastime and see what lessons we can take from this pastime, and we'll discuss a bit about that pastime also. And specifically we're going to focus on the lessons we can take, because remember, Krishna consciousness is giving us the highest philosophy, the highest understanding of the absolute truth, of ourselves, of everything, of this world. But apart from having this understanding, we need to align with that understanding. We need to accept this truth and also behave in a way that reflects that truth. So Krishna consciousness is all about us aligning with that truth, and also our experience and the way we respond in this material world should be aligned with that truth. It's almost no use us saying, oh, we are Hare Krishna devotees, we know about Radha Krishna's pastimes, the most elevated pastimes, but we behave in the material world like materialistic people. That doesn't speak well for our understanding. So, therefore we want to look at these pastimes specifically and see what understandings and lessons we can take from this pastime. So, Citraketu Maharaj, he was actually, in his next life, he became Vritrasura. Vritrasura is a great powerful demon. It's a great powerful demon. And the most amazing thing, that's another whole pastime which we won't cover today, but Vritrasura is the most amazing demon in that even though he was created specifically to kill Indra, Lord Indra, who's the demigod, the chief of the demigods, the king of the demigods, he actually revealed that he's a pure devotee. That's the marvel of Vritrasura. And Vritrasura, by the way he acted in this pastime, where he was actually fighting Lord Indra on the battlefield, the things he said were things that only a pure devotee could feel and say. So that was the most amazing thing about Vritrasura. So after hearing this pastime of Vritrasura, Sukadeva Goswami, who's the hearer, who's speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, he then describes Citraketu Maharaj, because Parikshit Maharaj, who was listening to Bhagavatam, he was just amazed after hearing that Vritrasura, who's a demon, how was he a pure devotee internally? And the things that he said, I mean, it's a whole talk to just discuss what he said and how he said it and, what it means. It's just such an astounding thing, because devotees themselves are very rare. Devotees are very rare. And devotees are, you'll see by the way that they feel and the way they respond, that it's not something usual to find a devotee. But here we had a demon, actually a demon, Vritrasura, who was actually the greatest devotee. So Sukadeva Goswami, when he heard this, he became very curious about how this happened. So then Parikshit Maharaj became very curious, and Sukadeva Goswami then described this pastime of Citraketu Maharaj, who was Vritrasura in his next life. So Citraketu Maharaj, he's a king. He's a very opulent king. He had 10 million wives. We can't even conceive of that. We don't know if that's an opulence in this day and age, but let's just say he had 10 million wives. In that time, it was a very great opulence. He was a king full of opulence. His kingdom was just, he had all power, opulence, fame. But he had one great lamentation in that he couldn't have a son. And because of this, he was very aggrieved. Here already we can take a lesson. It wasn't a lesson that we mentioned previously. But anyway, this lesson is that how we, if someone had to ask you in this world, what do you want? Ask anyone, maybe not you all, because as practicing devotees, you all may say, no, I don't want to be a king with opulences. But to ask the average person, what do you want? He would want that life, to be a king with everything you have in the material world, all power, name, fame, people adoring you. People want that. But you'll notice that even he, with all his opulences, he was still lamenting. And he was lamenting because he doesn't have a son. Now you'll notice the same tendency in us. We may have many things. I mean, if you compare even to 1 or 2 generations before us, the material facility we have is a lot, right? I mean, most of us have access to a motor car. I mean, 50 years ago, how many people had access to a motor vehicle, their own motor vehicle? Very few. Only the very wealthy people had that. There was no televisions, there was no internet, there was no cell phones. We've got such facility. We consider it a basic facility. But even though we have all these facilities, we are generally lamenting. We are not happy because we want other things that we don't have. We feel that if we have other things, then we'll become happy. So Citraketu was in the same situation. He had everything, you could say, in a sense, but he was lamenting because he had no son. And then, in this lamentation, in those days, great sages used to travel everywhere, and they used to meet the great saintly kings. Citraketu was also a very great saintly king. And one day, Angira Muni, the sage Angira, came to his palace and asked him how he's keeping, etc. And then Angira Muni noticed that, although you have everything, something is troubling you. And then Citraketu Maharaj revealed his mind. He said, yes, Angira Muni, I have everything. I have opulence, I have beauty, I have everything I could want, but I'm unhappy because I don't have a son. So Angira Muni immediately decided that I can help you with this situation. He said, I can perform a sacrifice for you, but I must warn you that this son will be a cause of both happiness and lamentation. Now, we all know when we have children, they give us happiness and they give us trouble, right? But we still want children. So Citraketu Maharaj, because of his state of lamentation, he felt, I'll take the lamentation and I'll take the happiness. So Angira Muni performed the sacrifice, and then the remnants of the sacrifice were given to the chief queen, Criticises, and she took those remnants, and in due course, she fell pregnant, and eventually they had a son. Upon his birth, of course, the whole palace was very happy, the king was happy, everyone was happy. However, the co-wives, the 9,999,999 other wives, weren't very happy. Because when you have many wives, and one wife gives a son, well, we don't know. Many of us don't have many wives, but typically what happens is if you have many wives, and one wife has a son that you've been desiring, then you will give more attention to that wife. That wife will become the favorite, and the others would be somewhat neglected. So the other wives were not happy with the situation. They became envious of Criticises, and they poisoned the son, that he died. And this became a massive problem. Citraketu was again plunged into misery. And so, Citraketu was again realizing the lamentation that will come. He had his joy and he got this lamentation. And then it so happened that the sages, Angira Muni and Narad Muni, came to his palace to visit. And they saw that they were all lamentful, and they asked, what's the problem? And Citraketu Maharaj said, yeah, this is what happened, my son has died. So Narad Muni then instructed Citraketu Maharaj. Now listen to the greatness of Citraketu Maharaj. Because typically, when we lose someone, we don't want to hear the philosophy that, you know what, he's just a material body, it's temporary. People get upset with you if you tell them. But here, Narad Muni instructed Citraketu Maharaj, this father-son relationship that you had is temporary. Your son has had many fathers before, and you have had many sons in your previous lives. So this is not a factual thing. So he became somewhat pacified. And Narad Muni, due to his mystic power, he was able to bring the dead son back to life. And the dead son then spoke to his father, about what it is. And the father was lamenting, son, how could you leave me? And the son was saying, oh, which father are you? I had many fathers. So with this, Citraketu Maharaj became very pacified, and he understood the truth. This is how things actually operate. And then Citraketu Maharaj realized that his suffering is due to this bodily conception of thinking that his son is his and it's a permanent thing. So he became appeased. And then Narad Muni continued to instruct him. He instructed in something called the transcendental knowledge. I think it's called the Mahavidya. I'll just find it here somewhere. He instructed him in transcendental knowledge. And then the queens also became pacified. They gave up their desire to have a son. And everything kind of reconciled with the instructions of Narad Muni. Narad Muni chanted the prayers instructed Citraketu and chanted these Mahavidya prayers. And Citraketu Maharaj, after 1 week of chanting these prayers, he received the darshan of Lord Sankarshan. 1 week. You see how great Citraketu Maharaj is? We've been chanting for many years. We may not get the darshan of the Lord directly like this. And we have the deities, of course, but Lord Sankarshan appeared with the 4 Kumaras in front of him. And then Lord Sankarshan instructed him, and he said, if you take this instruction, you will receive the highest goal of life. So Citraketu Maharaj was extremely fortunate. He, of course, always has been a great soul, but now he became even greater for receiving these instructions, receiving the mercy of the Lord. And then Lord Sankarshan made him the head of the Vidyadharas. It's like a superior planet to ours. The Vidyadharas are residents of that planet. He made him the head of that planet. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki Jai. And then from that point onwards, he traveled as the head of the Vidyadharas on a beautiful flower aeroplane with many women of the Vidyadhara planet glorifying the Lord. He became highly self-realized and a great soul, even greater soul by traveling. And then this is where the actual drama starts in the story. So while traveling on this beautiful flower aeroplane, well, firstly, I forgot to mention, we see already from this pastime of how Citraketu was instructed by Narad Muni and Angira. What happened to him by getting that instruction? He ultimately got the darshan of the Lord, and he managed to overcome his lamentation. So we see the potency of the great devotees in our lives, in his life and also in our lives. The sages came to him, they instructed him, he took that instruction, he practiced it, and look how a wonderful achievement he made. He made such great progress. So similarly in our lives, we have Srila Prabhupada. We all are here because Srila Prabhupada came, gave us these teachings. We are here, and many other great followers of Prabhupada, and the previous acharyas also, who gave us the association through the teachings that Prabhupada shared with us. All of that is available to us, and therefore we are all have the opportunity to make advancement. And if we take it seriously, we can make great advancement also, just like Citraketu Maharaj. So that's the important lesson we can take just from that first part of that pastime, that the association with advanced devotees is critical for advancement in spiritual life, and even critical for us to understand all the material things that we are going through properly. So Citraketu Maharaj now started wandering on his plane through various planetary systems, and eventually he came to Mount Sumeru. And in Mount Sumeru, he saw Lord Shiva sitting in an assembly of Siddhas, Charanas, Vidyadharas, and great sages also. But the unique thing about the scene was that on his lap, Lord Shiva had Mother Parvati. So Mother Parvati was sitting on his lap. So this was a little unusual. So, Citraketu Maharaj then laughed when he saw this. And he spoke. He spoke loud enough so Mother Parvati could hear from his plane. Let's see if I can find. I actually had a PowerPoint. I wanted to show the words he said, but I'll have to read it out. But anyway, he laughed loudly upon seeing the scene. And he was quite astonished by what he saw. So, and we see, Prabhupada mentions at this point in the purport that this whole pastime that's taking place is a special arrangement of the Lord to bring Citraketu Maharaj back to Godhead quickly. So we must always take this pastime in this context, that he made a lot of advancement, he had darshan of the Lord, and then the Lord made the special arrangement for him to go, what we're going to hear next. So I'll just read to you two of the verses that Citraketu spoke. He said, Lord Shiva, whose hair is matted on his head, has certainly undergone great austerities and penances. Indeed, he is the president in the assembly of strict followers of the Vedic principles. Nonetheless, he is seated with his wife on his lap in the midst of saintly persons and is embracing her as if he were a shameless, ordinary human being. Quite heavy statement. It's a very strong statement. You can see first he's appreciating the exalted position of Lord Shiva. He knows Lord Shiva is a great exalted personality. He's the president of the assembly. He's acting like an ordinary human being. So he was quite astonished by this scene. And in the next verse he says, ordinary conditioned persons generally embrace their wives and enjoy their company in solitary places. How wonderful it is that Lord Mahadev, although a great master of austerity, is embracing his wife openly in the midst of an assembly of great saints. Now, in this day and age, assembling, people embracing their partners and all is not an unusual scene. But in the Vedic times, it was quite unusual. And this is what Citraketu Maharaj is mentioning in text 17:8 and 7. He's mentioning this, and Mother Parvati is hearing. So he uses very great words to describe Lord Shiva, that he's a brahmachari who's never fallen. He's the best of the yogis. And he used the words to say that even in this situation, Lord Shiva is unaffected. So he's sitting with his wife on his lap, and there's great sages in front of him. So this is the main situation that Citraketu encountered, and he's making mention of it. So this is where the juice starts coming. What happens now? So we have to question ourselves, firstly, why Citraketu did this. So Prabhupada says that the purpose in criticizing Lord Shiva is a little mysterious. And he quotes Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who says that Lord Shiva is a very exalted personality, and he can do anything, and you cannot criticize him, because Lord Shiva is like that. So although he was behaving in an unusual way, he shouldn't be criticized. But the difficulty that Citraketu Maharaj had is that he appreciated and admired Lord Shiva so much, but he felt that if Lord Shiva is behaving like this, other people may imitate his behavior. An ordinary person who doesn't understand Lord Shiva's exalted position may imitate his behavior. And therefore, he actually wanted Lord Shiva to stop behaving like that. Right? So, out of his great admiration for Lord Shiva, he felt that if people, that verse from Bhagavad Gita, whatever a great man does, common men follow. So if people see Lord Shiva doing this, common men will do it. And then they will, they may not think highly of Lord Shiva. And he didn't want Lord Shiva to be thought of in that way. So therefore, the reason Citraketu Maharaj criticized Lord Shiva was that he wanted him to stop behaving like this, to keep his reputation intact. So that's the first point we learn. And then the other thing is that the question may arise, was his criticism justified? So we know it's an anomaly, but as Prabhupada mentions, Lord Shiva is an exalted person. He can do anything and he shouldn't be criticized. And the example Prabhupada gives is that, just like the sun evaporates everything. The sun evaporates urine even, but it does not become impure. So he said Lord Shiva is like that. No matter what he does, he remains totally pure. So we cannot criticize Lord Shiva. So Prabhupada's conclusion and the Acharya's conclusion is that Citraketu should not have criticized Lord Shiva. Even though he had a good reason for wanting Lord Shiva to stop this behavior, he should not have criticized Lord Shiva. So we have to just consider a subtle difference between criticism and offense. Offense, we all hear about offense, right? To offend a devotee is a great sin. Our spiritual life can be destroyed if we offend the devotees, especially a very advanced devotee, what to speak of Lord Shiva. So if we offend someone, our spiritual life will get ruined. Now the question is, was what Citraketu did in his criticism an offense or not? What do you think? Was it an offense, the criticism that he leveled? I read those verses, or it was not an offense? So, again, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, actually, although Citraketu Maharaj criticized Lord Shiva, it was not an offense. The reason it was not an offense is that even though he criticized what Lord Shiva was doing, he thought very highly of Lord Shiva. His criticism was based on his great admiration for Lord Shiva. Unlike Daksha, now I don't know if any of you heard of Daksha, Prajapati Daksha. Daksha was the father-in-law of Lord Shiva, the father of Sati. And if you're not familiar with the pastime, Lord Shiva was disrespected by Daksha. Or actually, Daksha took offense that Lord Shiva didn't offer proper respect to him as his father-in-law, and he insulted Lord Shiva. But when Daksha insulted Lord Shiva, he thought of Lord Shiva as insignificant. Therefore, that's considered an offense. He thought of Lord Shiva as insignificant, and therefore, all turmoil erupted in that pastime. Daksha's head was severed. He got the head of a goat, I think. It was a terrible situation. But fortunately, he came to his senses afterwards and he begged forgiveness from Lord Shiva. But in this case, Citraketu's criticism is not compared to what Daksha did. It is different because he still had great regard for Lord Shiva. So we see here another important thing is that when we conduct ourselves in our external behavior, like both Daksha and Citraketu criticized Lord Shiva. But Daksha's was an offense, while Citraketu's was not an offense. And the main reason, one, was that the intent of Citraketu, the mood and the regard he had for him. So they both exhibited similar behavior externally, but because the mood internally and the regard they had for Lord Shiva was different, one was an offense and one was not an offense. That's what the Acharyas are telling us. So it's important for us to also see how we are behaving to people. Like, what's that saying? Many a something is said in jest. I forget the thing. But when you have something to say to someone, especially if you got a criticism of them, in a joking way you kind of mention it. There's actual English saying, it escapes me now. Many a truth or something is said in jest. So basically you just say something in a joking way, but you're actually meaning to bring something to that person's attention. So when we're criticizing, we have to be very clear of our intent, mood, and regard we have for the other person, if we have to bring some flaw to the fore. So we have to be careful about that, because you can easily hurt someone, you can easily create an offense, especially if you're dealing with more advanced devotees. The offense could be very great, our spiritual lives could get endangered. So the safest position would be to have a very strong appreciation for someone, for as many people as possible. If we develop our appreciation, if we develop our regard for people, then even if we're speaking and something unsavory comes out, because of our great regard, it won't be an offense, because we have great regard and respect for that person. So we should cultivate this mood of appreciation, mood of great regard. The other reason that Srila Prabhupada says in the purport as to why this was not offense is that if Citraketu Maharaj had offended Lord Shiva, his spiritual life would be destroyed. But we see in his next life, Citraketu became Vritrasura, pure devotee who went back to Godhead. So definitely his spiritual life wasn't destroyed. That's the other evidence Srila Prabhupada gives. So that's the understanding we have, the difference between criticism with an offense and without an offense. So the question now arises, Citraketu is such an advanced devotee. I mean, he had the darshan of Lord Sankarshan. Why would he criticize Lord Shiva? Why couldn't he have better sense? Right. So the reason the acharyas give us again, Prabhupada mentions in the purport, is that Citraketu Maharaj, having achieved the darshan of Lord Sankarshan, he became proud of his achievement in spiritual life. And he had achieved a lot. How many of us can say we achieved the darshan of the Lord, right? But he achieved it. So he had a little bit of subtle pride that had developed. And we all know, Tanadapi Suni Chena Taroriva Sahishnuna, we should be humble, more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense, false prestige, and ready to offer respect unto others. So for a devotee, that's most important. But what Citraketu somehow developed is his little pride. And this pride didn't come from a material achievement, it came from his devotional service. So because of this little pride, he kind of felt he was able to criticize Lord Shiva. Because when you're proud, you feel you can tell someone something, right? And here is a very important lesson for us also, that even in devotional service you can develop pride. Even in devotional service, we can develop pride. Because in devotional service, you can get so many things, so many opulences. Firstly, in devotional service, we all get many things. We get a lot of mercy. The fact that we can try to be Krishna conscious means we've got a lot of mercy. We've got the holy name, we've got the teachings, we've got the association of devotees. So we've got a lot of things. And some things we're not even aware that we're getting, and we're getting it, and it's making us keep in Krishna consciousness. Other things we are getting and we are aware of it. We get privileges and we think, wow, I'm so fortunate to have had this opportunity to do this service. I've had this opportunity to, serve this devotee in this way. And we can get pride. We can develop pride from our devotional service. And that is a very dangerous thing. It's very dangerous when you develop pride in devotional service. It's said that Citraketu felt that he was a better controller of his senses than Lord Shiva. That was his pride. That's what Prabhupada says. The word Prabhupada says is Nirjitatma Bhimanine, where Citraketu thought himself a better controller of the senses. So in devotional service, we can think we are better than others in controlling our senses, better than others in doing a specific service, better than others in our humility. That can be pride. Better than others in the way we are able to distribute books, or whatever the case may be. The danger of pride is there. And it's called in the Madhurya Kadamani Utsahamahi, this tendency to be able to develop pride. And we need to be able to watch this. Especially as practicing devotees, we must watch that we don't develop this pride. Especially if we are given devotional service that gives us prominence, that gives us fame and name and adoration. Imagine if you're a spiritual master in the organization, in this movement of ISKCON. In ISKCON, we are preaching movement, we are engaging with the material energy, right? We are not like in a forest somewhere just chanting Hare Krishna. It'll be much safer and easier. Although you can develop pride anyway, but it would be safer and easier. But here we're engaging in the material energy. We're preaching, thousands of people are coming, we are getting in front of a thing. I'm speaking in front of so many of you, as if I know more than you. I'm speaking. The Guru is giving instruction. His disciples are bowing down to him and they're worshipping him. How much danger there is of pride for anyone. So similarly, in whatever devotional service we do, that tendency to be proud can come, especially if there's opportunity for name and fame. Imagine if you are a temple president and everyone is now listening to you, taking directions from you, right? Then suddenly if someone doesn't take direction from you, you may think, hey, something is wrong with him. How can he not listening to me? You may think that you are able to instruct everyone. If you're any service where you have some leadership and where people respect your authority, that can happen. So even in devotional service, we all have to be very, very careful. Now, Citraketu had darshan of the Lord. That's how elevated he was. And this pride still affected him. So what for any of us, who at whatever levels we are, we must be very careful of it, that we don't develop that pride. Another thing we can think of is that sometimes, it's very possible that, sometimes, especially if you're around for longer, many more years in the movement, people think, okay, he's senior. And it's true. When someone stays for long in the movement, they are senior. We are senior by many things, by our age, by our initiation, by our time in Krishna consciousness. There are many things that make by advancement in Krishna consciousness the main factor. But we can be senior by many things. And because we are long in Krishna consciousness, sometimes a senior devotee who's actually more advanced than us may treat us in a friendly way as a peer, because they know us for many years, they see us practicing. And we may also think that we are a peer of that person. Like sometimes one of the sannyasis who we know, for many years they may treat you like a friend, because they see you there. And we may think, oh yes, we are their equal. And when you think you are their equal, it means you're thinking you're more advanced than you are. The tendency to have pride, the tendency to be able to criticize and all can arise much more easily than when you respect someone and know our positions actually as being more humble than a blade of grass. So all these dangers are there, and we have to be very, very careful in Krishna consciousness. And we have to constantly remind ourselves of these things, especially as Krishna puts different tests to us. So Lord Shiva and his followers, how did they respond? Lord Shiva just remained silent, and he smiled and he stayed there. He just accepted what Citraketu Maharaj said. His followers did the same, because they understood where Citraketu Maharaj was coming from, and he didn't respond in a negative way. There's another lesson for us, how a great devotee responds to criticism. He didn't take it in a negative way. And then we see Mother Parvati. How did she respond to Citraketu's criticism? She became angry, right? And why did she become angry? She detected that pride of Citraketu Maharaj that we are talking about. And she called him, who died and made you in charge? She kind of said that. She said, who put you in charge of the rod of punishment? Because in this assembly we have Lord Brahma, we have Narada, we have great saintly persons in this assembly here. They are not saying anything about Lord Shiva's behavior. Why are you mentioning something? You get the point. Who made you in charge? Are you greater than Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva? Can you see the pride she detected? Powerful, right? How she detected that pride in him. And so she got angry with him for that pride, and she wanted to correct that. So she thought he was impudent, and she didn't mince her words. She told him off there. And she cursed him to become a demon so that he doesn't commit this offense. So the question may come about, making you a demon, how does that solve the situation? You might do worse things if you're a demon. Criticize more devotees, right? So I was listening to one class to try to answer this by Bhakti Vikas Swami, and he was saying that firstly, if you're a demon, then you become a follower of Lord Shiva, the Bhutas. Lord Shiva is the lord of the demons, right? So he will not criticize Lord Shiva. And also, in those times, the demons lived in separate places from the devotees. They were not mixing. So there was less chance of criticism. So that's the explanation he gave about why she cursed him to be a demon. But she cursed him upon being that. So the question may arise now that this person, Citraketu, is a great devotee, a very, very exalted devotee. How can he be cursed to become a demon? So it's said that Mother Parvati detected this pride, but even when she got angry with him and she cursed him, she referred to him as her son. she referred to him as Putra. And she, as mother, corrected him. So now this is a very important point, and Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, that a mother's duty is to correct her son. Even Mother Yashoda bound Lord Krishna and tied him up when he made mischief, because the duty is to correct the son. So Mother Parvati, although she was upset, she took him as a son and she wanted to correct him as a son. So she referred to him as son. So she corrected him not just out of anger, but out of anger in trying to correct her son. So herein comes another important thing in correcting. That when we want to correct someone, our tendency, if someone makes us upset, we will get angry. If someone criticizes us, we will get angry. And we generally responding in the mode of passion out of anger. But Mother Parvati accepted him as a son and she wanted to correct him in that way. So there's a few things required here. To correct someone, you must be their well-wisher. Right? This is what our philosophy says. You must desire the best for them. You can't be someone who wishes the worst for someone and then correct them. That is not a way to correct someone. So if you desire the well-being of someone, you can correct them. But also they must have a good regard for you. They must hold you in high regard. If they think that you're a nonsense yourself, you have no power to correct them because they won't listen to your correction. Right? So in order to correct someone, they must hold you in high regard. You must desire their well-being. And then that relationship is there, then correction can take place. Correction can't take place just out of anger. And if you think of all the problems we've had in our life where people corrected us, we got angry, we corrected others, they got angry, generally these ingredients were missing. That's why all those things happened. It didn't work out well. But if we have proper relationships with one another, if we have regard for many senior people who can correct us, then when they correct us, we'll be able to accept it. Nowadays, egos have gone so big, no one has any regard for anyone and no one wants to be corrected. Everyone believes they know best in the world. And everyone thinks like that. But in Krishna consciousness, we are meant to subdue that ego and at least have high regard for some devotees who can correct us. Otherwise, how will we improve if we can't be corrected? If we're depending on our own minds to correct us, we can just go astray. We need others to correct us. That's why we accept Guru, Siksha and Diksha Guru, so they can correct us. And we need to have that. All of us, it's an important thing to have someone who can correct us. Someone who has our well-being at heart and someone we hold in high regard, so they can correct us and we can ask their opinion. So that is a very important ingredient of how correction can happen and can happen properly. And we learn this in this pastime also. And Srila Prabhupada brings out, especially in the purport, of how these ingredients are necessary for correction. So the main thing is the correction can't happen out of anger. It shouldn't be happening only out of anger. So I'll just make one more point. We're far from finished, and then we'll take some questions. The other important point that we get from this is about speaking before seniors. So Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Narad Muni, all were there, and Citraketu criticized Lord Shiva. So what Mother Parvati said was that you criticized even though these persons were here, and they didn't criticize. When we got seniors present before us and we see something wrong, we shouldn't just stand up and blurt out that that is wrong. We should wonder, why is the senior person who's more senior than me not making a correction? Because he's seeing something that I can't see. Because when someone is more senior to us, more advanced to us, they will see things that we are unable to perceive. And they may be remaining silent for whatever reason. So it's best to take the guidance of seniors before we go and blurt out things just from our own mind and perception. So that's another important thing. We should take guidance, and we shouldn't be speaking like that in front of seniors, people who are senior to us. We should be taking their guidance. If they speak, then that's something. But for us to speak in front of them is not the proper thing. So that etiquette also comes out in this pastime. And Mother Parvati brought it out very strongly when she cursed Citraketu Maharaj. So, yeah, so I think we'll have to stop there because we're running out of time. There's a lot more in this pastime that we can go through, but maybe we'll stop there. There's a lot we already covered anyway, and many good lessons we got from this pastime. Are there any questions or comments that or corrections? You don't have to be more senior than me. That anyone has? I'm not seeing any. Is there a board or anything? No. Alnath Prabhu, is there a board, Prabhu? No questions. Okay. Must I make that? Okay. Okay. Oh, Panchamrit Prabhu has a question. Panchamrit Prabhu. Is there a mic for him? Yeah. Wait for the mic, Prabhu. There's
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
When senior devotees see something wrong, and they normally approach the devotee, and the devotee doesn't take it in the spirit of learning, what happens then?
Yeah. So generally, there's a very big risk that may happen. That when you approach someone to tell them about something that's wrong, they will respond negatively because they feel the ego is being bruised. You know, how dare he say that? Does he not know who I am? He doesn't understand, or whatever the situation may be. They could feel like that. Therefore, generally, it's not that the person must be senior. It's safer if the person who's being corrected has a relationship with the person and sees him as senior himself. So, for example, Panchamrit Prabhu, you may be senior to me and I have a regard for you. That Panchamrit Prabhu, you are senior to me, you can correct me, and if you do, I'll take it seriously. But another devotee may not know you like that. So if you correct that person, they may not take it well. So typically what we try to do is, ideally, you want someone who has a good relationship with that devotee to deal with that devotee, ideally. However, the ideal is not always possible. Let's say you are the temple president now, right? Many devotees hold you in high regard, some devotees may not. They don't know you well. But the temple president has a service to do, and when something is wrong, he has to try and address it and deal with it, or some manager, so he has to do it. But at least in our own dealings, we should try to follow that. That even if something is wrong, it's not my duty to be able to correct it. Especially the person may not listen to me, doesn't have the relationship with me. So that relationship is the most important thing, not the correction of the wrong. The fact that something wrong happened and I'm right. We may be right, but it's the wrong thing to do in that situation. Because once that person gets hurt, the ego is bruised, the whole thing becomes a much bigger clash, and nobody is helped. And that thing becomes a sideline, what was actually wrong, when you do more harm to the relationship with the devotees, and the devotee may get uninspired. The person correcting may become uninspired. So we want to keep everyone's enthusiasm as much as possible. But certain things, especially in an organization like ISKCON, you have to correct, because someone's service is to correct certain things. So in those situations, if you're a Namahata leader or you're some kind of leader in the movement, you have to somehow, in that sphere, correct. But we mustn't think of it as, because I have that position, I'm the corrector for everyone in my domain. It's not necessarily like that. The relationship is most important. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I think where my question deviates is where we have senior devotees or devotees, and we have new people coming in. And sometimes I watch and observe.
You? Sorry?
I observe and overhear.
Yes.
And sometimes they get to realize that people are new and you can't go in that deep to do a correction.
Yes.
You understand? So instead of, I know the intention is good,
Yes.
but the other person that's receiving the bit of the instruction or the advice may not be so happy about it.
Yes.
As a caution,
Yes.
what can we do? We watch, but I am no one to go correct that person. Hey, you're not supposed to talk to them like that.
Yeah.
You know where I'm coming from. It's difficult.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you bring an important point. When someone is new, their bhakti is fragile. They have a little faith, they came, and our main purpose here is to nourish that bhakti. So even though they may do something wrong, or because they don't know, they are new, they may take prasad with the left hand, something, they may not follow all the principles or that we follow, or they may touch something that they shouldn't be touching. Yeah, it's very important to be sensitive to that, because the point of Krishna consciousness is to encourage everyone and bring them closer to Krishna. And if you say something to someone that discourages them, even if it's a correct thing that you're saying, it works against the mission that we're trying to serve here. And our mission is to serve Krishna by letting everyone come closer to him. So if you can't correct it yourself, It's true that because the people who are doing that, they may not have the relationship with you and they may not accept that correction themselves. So then you have to try to see how to bring awareness of it. Like for example, the prasad queue is a big thing. People get very upset when they don't get 2 pieces of paneer, or they want 5 plates to take home. All kinds of things may happen. So education is key. Yeah, okay, in the prasad queue we're here to serve everyone. It's for the people who are here. Once everyone is served, you can take your 5 plates away. Just don't take it now. It's about educating. But if you don't tell someone nicely, and if everyone gets offended and they start having a big fight at the prasadam queue, it just spoils the whole mood of accepting and receiving prasad. Because everything we do is meant to be devotional. So it may be the right thing, but doing it in the wrong way, the wrong circumstance. But then we have to educate. And that's why it's important we read Prabhupada's books, we listen to talks, we chant Hare Krishna, because all this education comes from practicing Krishna consciousness. But not everyone will be correct very quickly. This movement is a hospital, right, where sick people come to get cured. So you must expect that there will be sick people here, people who don't know everything, and we're going to get cured. We're all going to get cured as we advance in spiritual life. So wrong things, we have to be tolerant. It's not ideal, but as far as possible, you don't want to discourage people. So if you can't tell someone directly, you tell someone more senior than you that, you know what, this is what's happening. I'm seeing this Ramvijay, he's a senior person, I can't tell him myself. Can you please advise him not to deal with people roughly? So tell someone else who, if I don't have a relationship with you, to help me in that regard. Someone that I have, they can work it out. So that's the best thing we can do. We don't want to have these negative engagements. It just undoes the whole, it creates offenses and it undoes our spiritual advancement. Thank you, Prabhu, for the question.
A very, very big thank you to His Grace Ramvijay Das. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing such an enlightening class and such practical, valuable lessons that we can follow as well. Devotees, a very few quick announcements. But before we go into that, we have books to give out to those who are here for the first time today, or maybe not even your very first time, but you've been coming newly to temple. So we'd like to give you these books as gifts to you, and it will be handed to you by Ramvijay Prabhu. So please come forward if you're here for one of the very first times today, and you can receive your gift. There are some new people with us, so we'd like to give this to you.
Hare Krishna.
Let's encourage these devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'm sure there are others. We have 5 books to give away today. It's a new Mataji on this side. Don't feel shy, you can come. Let's chant for Mataji as she's coming. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We still have 2 more books to give away. Hare Bol. Devotees, few quick announcements. So tomorrow, every Monday, the Meerbank Namahatha is held at the Meerbank Secondary School from 6:30 p.m. onwards. And tomorrow, His Grace Sundarananda Prabhu will be visiting the Namahatha. So we're all welcome to attend and have association of Prabhu as well. The Women's Forum will be starting an online book club, and this is launching on the 18th of March. So for this, you are welcome to contact anyone from the Women's Forum. Then devotees, we're all very excited about 2026 Rath Yatra and the Hari Bol. So that's taking place in less than a month from now. So we are all excited, and we also want to encourage everyone else and to spread the word. And we can all help to spread the word via social media, our social pages, which include TikTok pages, include Instagram, Facebook. So all we have to do is like, share, follow, share it on your statuses, so we spread the word for everyone to attend Rath Yatra. And then over and above that, we have the opportunity to offer our services and skills. We all have some skills that we would to offer to the Lord. So let's take advantage of this, and all information is on our social media platforms, so you can reach out there and get involved hands-on in Rath Yatra as well. Then devotees, the Bhaktivedanta College of Education and Culture classes have started. The prospectus is available online and in the foyer as well. And one of the notable classes is by one of the members, His Grace J. Sachinand Prabhu, who has been instrumental in the starting of the college. And he is doing the class on Module 1, which is the Bhagavad Gita chapters 1 to 6. So this takes place every Sunday from 9:30 to 11 here in the college room. So even though classes have started, you still can register for the courses and attend and grow in your spiritual journeys. Devotees, today's Sunday Love Feast Prasadam has been lovingly prepared by the Food for Life team. So a very big thank you to His Grace Ramananda Priya for today's Prasadam. Devotees, thank you for attending today's Sunday Love Feast program. We wish you a blissful week ahead, and we wish the Matajis once again a happy International Women's Day. Hare Krishna. We'll continue with some kirtan and then Aarti. Hare Krishna.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Saraswati Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Prabhu Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare Holy name Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, hey, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hey. Come on, dance. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Gaura Premanande. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astotarasat Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtotarasat Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद के श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपा गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगा माया यमुना माया की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की सामवेद भक्त वृंद की Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada.
जय श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह देव भगवान की, भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की। नमस्ते नरसिंहाय नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रहलाद लाद लाइने हिरण्यकाशी पूर्वक्षः श्रीलतङ्कानकलाय इतो नरसिंह पारे तो नरसिंह यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंह बाहिर नरसिंह हृदय नरसिंह बाहिर नरसिंह हृदय नरसिंह जय नरसिंह मदिं शरणं प्रपदे नरसिंह मदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव कर कमलवरेण कमद्भुत शृङ्गा तलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गा केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे। तव कर कमल वरे कमल सिंह, जय जय नरसिंह देव। जय नरसिंह देव, जय नरसिंह देव, जय नरसिंह देव, जय नरसिंह देव। जय प्रहलाद महाराज, जय प्रहलाद महाराज, प्रहलाद महाराज, जय प्रहलाद महाराज। जय जय प्रभुपाद, 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह देव भगवान की, भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल।
You know what happens? Hare Krishna, hit the mute button. You'll put it with